Marks World Innovation and Creativity Day, and the day raises awareness on the need to strengthen creative industries and promote artistic freedom, which are critical to human development. But we'll also talk about the risk and impact of AI and innovation on jobs, as well as a number of other social and professional impacts. And we're joined by Professor Lize Barclay, who is a senior lecturer in future studies and systems thinking at Stellenbosch University. Prof, good morning, and thank you very much for your time. It's such a fascinating, exciting, but also dangerous sphere of development for humankind. And I'd love to kick our conversation off by starting with the potential for AI and new technologies to solve some of the biggest problems in Africa, like agriculture, food security, disease management, and health.
Thank you for having me. The AI and as well as many of the other technologies, in association with, for example, drone technology in agriculture, does have a lot of potential. We do have a shortage of scientists and resources to work on these very important issues around food security and around environmental disaster, around eco-migrants because of the way the climate is changing. And we've already seen in science how many of these problems in scientific innovations have been assisted with the help of AI. And at the moment, people are so scared of using it. A lot of universities, research institutions, it's like, okay, but is this going to replace people? Is this going to make us very dumb? And now we're just going to exist. But what we have seen is it is embraced, that there's a lot of breakthroughs, a lot of your protein sequencing and sequencing of various chemical compounds in terms of finding solutions have been absolutely boosted because of the speed that AI works.
What do you rank as outstanding contributions of digital technologies in the world today? I mean, you've mentioned one or two there. What stand out in your mind as really, incredible step changes?
AI agents and agentic AI is definitely at the moment one of the things that a lot of resources being put into. There are more fringe things like, for example, quantum computing, organoid intelligence, neural computing, all these more fringe aspects that's still more in development than really proof of concept. But every person that do have a mobile phone, now we do understand there is a digital divide and people do not all have smartphones or access to free and available internet, but a lot of people do. And for them actually being innovative and contributing to the world of intelligence and creating products coming up with ideas, being creative, being innovative is much easier than it was 5 years ago. AI does lead to a lot of possibilities in terms of development, and people have that if they have access to a smartphone and a reasonable, stable internet.
Yeah, I mean, I was in a session with some leaders not too long ago talking about keeping up with the times and, understanding what the 16 exponential technologies are, being able to name them. We think about AI, we think about, cryptocurrencies and a whole suite of things that people need to add into their understanding or their lexicon of understanding to be able to keep up with the changes in the world. But everything that we're talking about in terms of change and how quickly things can be done by AI and other technologies can be a double-edged sword. When we think, Prof, about skills obsolescence, like what we see in the film and creative industries, copywriters, editors, voiceover artists, graphic designers, even composers and book illustrators, this list is exhaustive, represent areas where AI can do these jobs in seconds. So how better can we prepare for skills pivoting and job creation, especially when, these things can happen quite quickly and people will find themselves wanting?
What we are seeing is a move towards prompt engineering, and that is being able to write an AI prompt really well. Now, if you do not know that much about composing or what the image should actually contain, then you are reasonably okay with generating AI that is acceptable. But the more knowledge you have, in other words, that's your world, the better prompt engineering you can do. So that is what the people have to do. I see a lot of people in the creative industries, they want to boycott and really just avoid AI whatsoever. But if they now learn how to use these tools, they will be well ahead of anybody else because they understand how shapes interact with each other and color and how music should sound like. So a lot of people can tinker it. There is a democratization of these availability of skills. So a lot of people can now from their phone just be really creative, where previously they might have been too scared or not being allowed in the industry itself because of lack of background or networking, which they now can do and just post it online. But in the professional sense, people that do already have these skills, work in these industries, they can really be much better, do things faster, more innovative if they bring and harness the AI tools. We do have other issues as well in terms of digital fatigue and all these just repetition of rebrands and remakes that we do see in entertainment industry. We haven't really seen a new music genre or even art genre in a while. So maybe AI might be breaking over these boundaries of things we've been waiting for, really something new, innovative. And who knows where's the boundaries? We don't know. And that's what these people that are so scared they might lose their jobs should explore for us.
So a frontierless world, I think, is what you're proposing. And also the point you're making is about using the tools to learn the tools and about engaging with rather than being resistant to the technologies that do exist out there. But, you know, Prof, the risks are huge for humankind and planetary well-being when we think about things like deepfakes. We've seen fake political videos, cloned voices. I mean, there was an ad I was apparently promoting, something that was being sold somewhere, which, you know, could pass as real if people didn't know who I really was and what my voice sounded like. Or privacy, my goodness, smart cameras, facial recognition in public, social media algorithms that mine our behavior, and concerningly, autonomous weapons, drones that choose and engage targets without real-time human input. How do you think we should manage this?
We should manage it like we've managed all technology before. We should be curious, but know there's boundaries. We should not romanticize anything that it could be the end-all and be-all solution for all. We should be very critical. And this is where thinking skills like critical thinking, learning about creativity and what looks and not doesn't look real. Now, we've talked about the uncanny valley a lot, especially in game design before, where you see somebody and it's just your brain slightly glitches because it feels like, no, this isn't really a person. And we do have that kind of natural ability to see, well, that's not really how the person will talk to. But there is still a tremendous amount of people that do not have these skills in terms of critical thinking and doubt. We went through a time where people were told that people, if you see them on the screen, they're an authority. If they write a book or if politicians, celebrities, they are authorities in things. And this is where deepfakes is most abused. And we have to have that critical depth and understanding. And this is one of the most important things that should be taught in schools, in organizations, is this ability to think critically, evaluate, and really understand, should I be gullible for this? And then go on this hunt for the truth and see where things really do come from and what they really should believe in.
You know, again, there's this balance between what is so exciting and the potential for development in human society. When you talk about, you know, the innovations and strides in medicine, for example. When you look at South Africa, though, and you're based at Stellenbosch University, you're leading the drive there around this, you know, embracing futuristic technologies and keeping pace. What's your observation on how well we are staying familiar, how well we are keeping up?
Well, at Stellenbosch Business School, we are very, very committed to really exploring AI in our sessions, our classes with our students, with our partners, and at the wider Stellenbosch University as well. There is definitely a curiosity first, and a weariness is not as strong as many other institutions and many other people. So we are more open to explore the limits. The moment you are open to exploring the realities, you start seeing the limits. You know where the opportunities lie. So we've seen in our various our scientific parts of the university, us at the Stellenbosch Business School, we really look at everything critically. How can it be used best to help people, to help in things like coaching, to help in technology development, but also understanding that there's a tremendous environmental cost. Every time you generate a little picture or a little prompt, it does have a big environmental impact. The moment we see something in digital and we hear cloud, we don't really understand the massive materials and energy demand that all of these things require, and that we have to keep in mind. If we really want to be environmentally sustainable, we have to be very, think a little bit more about just using AI. Every second of the day. And of course, we do understand it's a lot of ethical issues, and there is a lot of debate going on. South Africa is one of the countries that is ahead in not only using AI, but all our various institutions, governments are curiously explorative, but also understand the complexities around the potential damages.
Professor Barclay, I don't want to be selfish because this is really in my wheelhouse. I love this conversation. I could keep you here for hours really just talking about what we're talking about and then getting into the moral, the ethical, the philosophical impact and influences that both these worlds will have on each other. But as you say, you touched on something important, which is the environmental footprint of using all this technology, which we can't really see. I mean, we interact on our phones or wherever we are. But the massive amount of, server farms and what it takes to keep all of this in the world and available to us, I'd love to end on that point. And as you say, when we use what we use to do what we do, how much more conscious should we be about how that consumption is actually affecting our world and our environment?
Absolutely. We have to understand that it first starts with a lot of minerals. A lot of the minerals that goes into manufacturing the GPUs, CPUs, the mobile phones, the data centers, everything that deal with it, does come quite often from blood mining from African countries where mining is not necessarily done under the conditions we would demand in South Africa. It then goes to manufacturing, and then all those components needs a tremendous amount of energy to keep running all the time. And of course, because of the advances in technology being as fast as it is, they get replaced and those old components get tossed away, leaking into our groundwater, all kinds of various harmful chemicals and heavy metals. So these are concerns that we do have to keep in mind as well. Could AI potentially help us come up with better tools, better materials, and better solutions for environmental problems? Possibly, but we have to understand that AI, like all these technologies, are just tools, and us as humans, we decide how to wield it.
Professor Lize Barclay, thank you very much for talking to us this morning and sharing your perspective. Appreciate it and go well. So breaking